On Marvel TV Weekly this week, this one's for the ladies. We're going to celebrate the best and baddest women in the Marvel Universe. Cinematic, comic, movie, TV, everything. So stick around. This isn't corn muffins. This is Marvel TV Weekly.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Thank you for the applause. Much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Helen Reddy. I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate the ladies than I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. And just there at the top, I started thinking, you know what I'm going to try and do every week? Take the corniest line I like the least from the episode of The Gifted and try and incorporate it into the show. Anyway, welcome to Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Bladt. You can find me at ChristianDMZ. Kari, where can people find you? Oh, and who are you?
Yes, hi, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's Karidlane.
Erica?
Hi, I'm Erica J. Green. You can find me on all social media at Erica J. Green.
And happy to be back. Looks like you guys had plenty of fun without me, and now we're having fun without Michael. And I thought, you know what? It's me. It's the ladies. We're going to celebrate the women of Marvel in just a moment.
I'm sorry, quick
yeah.
question. Now, are you only picking lines from The Gifted, or are you going to be equal opportunity and pick lines from Inhumans?
Oh, no, I will.
Okay, good.
But the problem
you can't
is...
hate on just one.
No, so the problem is that, we watch The Gifted right before we do the show.
This is true, so it's fresh.
I did watch Inhumans this afternoon, though. Okay. I watched 2 of them. I had to catch up. And, there were definitely some moments, but nothing like the corn muffins. Which is the most minor, dumb spoiler for people who haven't seen The Gifted yet, that I'm giving away a bad line for those of us who were able to watch it at least this week.
It wasn't that bad. It had such impact. She's
it's
not a kid
her
anymore.
realizing, like, the world is different for her.
You ladies are much kinder than I am. I
I
judge things to a much higher standard. But one thing that we should all judge to high standards are the best women in the Marvel Universe. And I'm going to start with The Gifted. This isn't really going to give that much away. I was really impressed by Caitlin Strucker tonight. That's Amy Acker, a.k.a. Michael's least favorite character in all of Marvel television. I wish he was here tonight so he could tell us that, she was okay, but I still hate her, or maybe she won him over. But what's more badass as a woman to jumping into battle and having no powers? All the other people had powers to some extent, and she didn't have anything. She's just like, I've got an EpiPen and a pair of car keys. Let's go.
She has good ideas.
Yeah,
she does have good ideas. Yeah, that's right.
She's like, no, we don't. We can talk about it, because some people are like, wait.
Well, that's in the commercial that Lorna and Reed are being moved.
You can't break into a prison. Get the convoy.
Yeah,
duh.
That's in the commercial.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think we're giving that much away. And it's like, how come no one else thought of that? But
because they're too focused.
That's true.
You don't think of the easiest thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. So she stands out for me. Other than this one instance, though, for me, the only truly badass woman on The Gifted is Polaris.
Yeah.
And minor spoiler, we see some of that tonight. That's all I'll say. But we finally get to see her do something. But who stands out for you, Kari, in The Gifted? And then we can move on to Inhumans and some of the other shows too.
Yeah, Polaris is definitely winning me over, and I loved how she got to be a badass in this episode.
Yeah.
Because she's had some other moments, but this one you're like, yes. I think all of us were like, yes.
Yeah, there was actual applause. The
There's
little cubby that we were sitting at. Yeah.
And it's these people. A lot of these mutants. It's like they've had these cool powers, but we don't get to see them that often. So it's so rewarding when we do. So it's like, oh, finally. Also, I'm liking Blink. Almost Blink. No.
Blink. What?
Yeah, Blink.
Portal.
Yep, that's Blink. And here's my problem with Blink, though, is that she needs to be motivated by a pretend relationship that she's not having. And she has to, not be able to sleep. So I was like, I'm going to take away some badass points. I put that in my notes when I was watching last week's, and I'm like, so she she can only really use her power if she thinks... she thinks, exactly. If she thinks Thunderbird's into her, they're like, did we do? No, we didn't. But I want to. I can't sleep. It's like every day at 3:30, she's up just thinking, you think he's thinking about me?
Do you know how hard of a struggle that is for a woman who really likes
I
him?
mean,
No,
it's
really.
believe me, it's
Well,
not that
actually,
easy for a guy either. You know, I've
Just
had
go
that
to
moment.
his room and problem solved. Be like,
He
"You're
has
gonna
a
think of me
girlfriend,
now."
Kari.
No, they're not dating.
Well, that's true, but there's something. You're right. There's something there.
They're not
but,
dating.
So, Erica, as you see these characters on The
Yeah.
Gifted, who stands out for you?
What's Andy's sister's name? I can't think of her name right now because Andy's name just pops out to me because they're
The
always
daughter?
screaming it. Yeah, the
on.
daughter.
I really thought I wrote it down today because I didn't want to forget it. She's the main character on the show, and we don't know.
But I don't feel like they highlight her enough. And she's a badass. She's
Well,
always getting Andy in line, helping him out
Yeah.
to utilize his powers. She's always coming up with great ideas coming from a little, high school ditzy little girl, to being this badass. I'm gonna kick ass now and take names and help my brother help with his powers. I think she's doing a great job. And she's
even
young
in-
too. She's in high school.
What they do together is really cool too. I'm like,
Yeah, that's the girl we're talking about,
Who?
Anthony. If you want to
Yes.
look up what her character name is, that
not
would
one
be
of y'all.
awesome. The brother's name is Andy. I wrote that down.
Because they're always saying Andy.
I know, and and as we're getting that name, and probably people in the chat are like, "You guys are so stupid." Her name is
Lind?
whatever. No,
Someone's
no,
that's
no,
not the
no.
chat. Thank you.
That's not the
No, come on,
chat.
chat. Come on.
But
Which we all thought she looked super different with her hair back. By
yes,
the way. Threw me off. I was like,
it was
who's
just like,
this?
who's this
Oh
girl?
wait, that's her.
There's another high school girl hanging out. Just a sort of
Oh,
a
Lauren.
Lauren, thank you.
Thank you, chat
Thank you,
room.
chat.
I
All
was
right,
about to
that's
say it,
10
too.
demerits for Tony Be Dead in the booth. But
Chat room got
but
the quick draw.
follow him anyway at Tony Be
Yeah.
Dead. We're not going to really punish you. Just sort of an interesting aside is that I kind of like what we're seeing with the Andy character on this show, and this is actually in reference to last week, that you see how angry he gets, you see how he wants to lash out. He's definitely ripe for some Brotherhood of Evil Mutants who might come along and be like, look, do you want to hang out with the nerds? Or do you want to actually
Big
fight?
kids, yeah.
And that could definitely
Yeah.
be an interesting. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the family torn apart by evil mutants and
After everything they do to get back together.
yeah, look, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch are brother and sister, and then so I'd like to see it. I think you get the family back together at some point, and then you tear them apart. But anyway, Lauren, for being a character who is in high school, and I guess the way that the show works, they've had these powers for about a week. And
No, she's had
She's-
hers
yeah.
for
that's
like
right.
at least a year
That's
or
right.
two.
You're absolutely right. He's had
He's
his
new.
for a
Yeah.
week.
And
Yeah.
actually, it almost is mere days because they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, a few days ago, and I was like, thanks for the reference because I
Yeah, because
totally
this is
think
like
this has been like
episode
weeks.
5 or yeah.
Yeah, they said days.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just like, isn't this like the 6th episode? But it's not. It's probably only like the
That's
4th.
a lot that's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
in Fox.
All right. Well, let's talk about badassery on the other show currently airing, the other Marvel TV show, and that'd be the Inhumans. And I feel like Medusa is at the top of the list for me because with her hair, she can do all sorts of things. Without her hair, she has to improvise.
Yeah.
She's shooting guns. She's using car
She
doors.
stole clothes.
Yeah, she definitely stole clothes.
She found her man.
Yeah, exactly. She definitely got her man.
Hello, I
And
want-
sucked face like they were in high school.
Yeah, I know exactly. It was, and look, I like the character of Crystal, but she's not really a badass. She barely uses her
Oh
powers.
no, I need her
She's-
to step up
she-
so
she-
much
I guess
more.
she has powers. I
She
just
right.
off.
She just likes. Yeah, I know. It's just like she just hangs out with the dog. Which I wasn't here last week, but 2 weeks ago I was very upset that he got ran
Yes.
over, and I'm glad to see he's okay. And I guess that guy who ran him over is going to be around, but that's okay
Because him
because
and Crystal are gonna have a thing.
there's a thing that's
God.
apparently
And he-
developing. Yeah.
I didn't like though that she's the girl being swayed by a dude of like he could have just said we will find your family. He made it like it's unimportant, and
Yeah.
I didn't like that moment because then I'm like, what are you doing? You totally are forgetting.
Well,
about your
he's too
family.
busy being a
he
walking,
doesn't-
talking advertisement for Hawaii. He's like,
Yes.
"This is my office. Hang loose," And then it's like, "You want some romance? And if not, that's cool. Hang loose." But
True, but the problem is,
she did have my favorite line. I think it was
He
2
doesn't
episodes
know
ago.
Her family's in peril.
Yes. When his ex-girlfriend, the medical student
vet,
slash
I
doctor
like
comes,
her.
yeah, she's sassy. She'll be
Yes.
back this week, judging from the trailer.
Yeah.
But when she sort of sassed Crystal had a very funny line. I thought,
Princess.
yeah, she's like, "How did you know I was a princess?" I'm like, "See, that's nice." So yeah, for me, Medusa, there's obviously the bad chick who's like sort of leading, Maximus's rebels.
Yes.
That won't die.
No, she will
Yes,
not
that's a good
die.
power.
So not dying, good power to have. Just
what's
ask Wolverine.
What's the scientist woman's name?
Oh,
I like Miss Turner.
Louise.
I like her.
Yeah,
She
she's cute.
has no abilities, but she talks back to Medusa and like points out how much like, are you this nice to everyone? And I was like, thank you.
And I like that Gorgon was like, "Who's this sweet thing?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "All right, great," because you know what? If Karnak's gonna get some, you might as well.
Her. I liked her a lot.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
She was nice.
she was
She
good.
was great.
Yeah, and
I forgot her name, though,
She
too.
Jen.
Jen. Okay.
Yeah.
So many
So it's
Well,
it's
they say a character's name like once, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh,
I know.
I need to say it a few times, please.
yeah. I mean, we couldn't even remember Lauren's name,
Yeah.
which is funny because we watched that show with closed captioning on, so we see it. But it still didn't stick with us. But Jen's name I remember.
She had a great life philosophy too, and just like, dude, you need to chill out.
Yeah.
She helped him
Doubts
out.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was kind
Yeah.
of confused. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I sort of filibustered
Yeah.
through all of that. I don't know. I mean, can you isolate any other characters, female characters, or really otherwise, on the Inhumans that stand out as true badassery? I mean, Black Bolt, but that's like, it's always the threat of Black Bolt. He messed up some cop cars, and that's all we've seen so far.
What's the is it not Midas, but the
Maximus or
No, the
the
mask.
guy with the mask, yeah.
Which apparently, if you watch it without subtitles, he's very hard to understand. Somebody was saying that, and I was like, I watched with subs. He's totally fine.
I watched it without subtitles, and
Okay.
it was all right.
I
He
love
was like
him.
making jokes
He's
in the
so
last
funny.
episode. Yeah, the first
He's
episode,
so
I was like
cool.
really distracted by the mask. I'm like,
It's
what is this
weird.
guy's deal? But then I'm like, he's making jokes. All
why
right,
is that
I'm
silly?
taking jokes.
The mask covering his face.
It's-
Yeah.
As soon as he
Well-
takes it off, it's like fire face or
That's
don't
what.
know.
That's why. I mean,
but I'm guessing.
the understanding is that's why they opened the gas canister, was because, okay, now if you take off your mask, you're going to flame everything and you're going to blow up. So
But
I
the
assume.
question is like Cyclops, it's just
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
eyes, but for him, is his whole face,
face.
That's
or even
what-
his body, because his whole
Oh, that's
body's
true.
covered too.
I thought it was his face, but yeah, it's probably his whole body, because
'Cause
he's
the-
in that suit. Yeah.
The face has the metal, so then I'm not. I agree. His humor is what made me like, this character's awesome. He's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, exactly. And there's
hit all of
some great friendship brewing over there on the Inhumans.
I
Little
kind of want him to come over to another side because he seems smart enough to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, and then you see that there's some torn loyalties
Yes.
throughout.
Oh, come on with why did they call it like locust? But
Yeah, locust as in like a locator. Yeah, and she like is
made me think the bug.
yeah,
that's what I was
locust.
thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she obviously was like, well, I mean, I guess this is the real king. I guess I'm gonna help him, and then so there were some good
I'm
female
confused
characters.
now. So
Yeah.
I'm confused now on who's
Yeah.
really the bad side. I mean, I know Maximus trying
Maximus
to kill
is
them,
a pretty-
but
they-
still, but like how the treatment of the people on their
Yeah.
planet that still has to
So
be taken into
so
account.
Maximus talks a good talk. But as was pointed out 2 episodes ago, it's like, so are you doing this for the good of the
Yeah.
people of Avalon, or is it because you always want to be
today,
king,
episode, yeah.
and because you have this chip on your shoulder that you go through Terrigenesis and you become a human? You're the only person to go through it who becomes less special than when you went in. And
Aren't there other Adelans who became human?
well, I think that they
ones
didn't become
looking
human. They just didn't have abilities develop. His manifested as
DNA.
Yeah, right, exactly. So he had some bum DNA, which
DNA,
I think
we're
that
humans.
I think that has some more to do. Well, yeah, believe me, if I could be an Inhuman, I would. But I'm not. But anyway, so I don't know. I find both of these shows to still be compelling and interesting. The Gifted, I felt really ramped it up this week.
This episode
And
was so good.
this was good. It was like it was building. I'm like finally something.
Yeah.
And then the Inhumans this past week, it was like, okay, the gang's back together,
Yes.
and now we can actually go forward and try to tie up the story over the
Yeah.
next 3 episodes. And by the way, just as we talk about these shows, AfterBuzz has standalone after shows. If you want really in-depth coverage of both The Gifted and Inhumans, I think they're both on Sunday nights. So, but take a look
I thought
where
one
you.
was on Friday.
Well, no, the show's on Friday, but I think that the AfterBuzz
the
show
after
is on
shows,
Sunday.
okay.
The after shows I think are both on Sunday. So anyway, where you found us, I believe the what is it? The superhero sci-fi fantasy channel on AfterBuzz. You can find you can find shows for both The Gifted and Inhumans.
I would add that Maximus, in principle, his theory and like his goal, I do air quotes for those listening because I'm like, is good because their cast system sucks and like
Yeah.
it's not great for everybody and it's just the luck of the draw. But when Medusa and Locust are talking, Medusa points out like, well, he made you do your ability as well, so he's just like us.
And
so then you're like, oh, okay, and also I still hate him.
And
but,
he also institutes a draft.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, all right, I'm going to have to send some more
I'm gonna
people
pick
down.
someone.
So get me some losers to refer to another show that Kari and I do. Let's get some red shirts down there
Yep.
to get killed off in the first 10 minutes. That's Star Trek Weekly,
I'm
Sundays.
like, what?
Sundays at 10 Pacific. Anyway, it's funny because Inhumans, it's almost over. You know, there's only 8
Right, yeah.
episodes. And then before we know it, we'll have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. return.
Do we like that better though? Because is that a show where we wouldn't want it drawn out?
I think that the response has been that there won't be more of them. But if they do another 8-10 episodes in a year or something where they have a specific story to tell, I think that'll be better than the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. model where you have 22 episodes and 9 of them are good. That's a joke mostly, but there's a lot of
There's
spinning
a lot
your
in
wheels.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
that-
and
Are they gonna wrap it up in Inhumans? Are they gonna actually wrap up what's
I
going
think
on?
that they'll.
so.
I think they'll wrap up this story,
Yeah.
but then there's going to be some lingering
Some other
questions
bad guy.
because they want us, as in the viewers, to
Yeah.
demand more Inhumans.
Yeah.
Speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there are a couple of badass characters that need to be
Yes.
highlighted. When the show started, Skye would not have been someone I considered to be much of a badass because she was
a
a
cool
hacker.
hacker,
She was a
though.
good hacker.
Not a badass.
But then
maybe,
when
but-
she's Daisy/Quake, you're like, okay, now that's badass. But
except for goth phase, which she kind of
yeah,
laments
not
about
cool.
that. Or
Very
did
not
she say
cool.
emo or goth? One of
I'm
those.
on the outs with the
you-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I have not gotten through it yet. So,
it's
yeah.
no, it's a lot. It's a lot to get through.
Stick with her because she
But-
goes through an emo phase, and you're just like, ugh. But
But
later she admits that was bad.
What I will say is from episode 1, first few minutes, always a badass Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Melinda May.
Yes.
You know, she never
100%.
misses a beat, and she's
Yeah.
gone through some things through the
Human
course of the show.
or powers?
She
She doesn't
no
have
powers.
powers.
And you know what her power
all
is?
for that.
Being awesome. You know,
Yep,
she was
yep,
born
yep,
with
yep.
that gift.
Yep.
And she kicks a lot of ass. So to me, that's the best. That's the best female character.
Level-headed.
One of the best characters on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a little soft on Agent Coulson. Just a big fan. But,
Bobby.
yeah, Bobby
has a good
Mockingbird,
run.
who's now over on the Orville, so the actress.
Yep.
So, yeah, and for the deep inside nerds, Mockingbird is a character that I actually liked a lot. In the comic book, she's married to Hawkeye, and I was a little disappointed when they introduced her as not married to Hawkeye. But then, of course, in which one was it? It was, I think it was the second Avengers movie where we meet Hawkeye's wife and family, and we're like, okay, so they're clearly not going that route.
Yeah.
You know, the Age of Ultron. So anyway, but she's a good character. She's a little bit more honorable mention because she was only
she's not
only
in it
like
that
one
long.
full season and then a little bit more. But I don't even know if you even got to
I don't think
Bobby.
she's there yet. That's
She-
why
Like
she's
Bobby.
she's-
I thought that was
yeah.
a guy. We all said
I mean,
No, it's a girl.
We
Yeah.
go figure that the name Bobby would be
Yeah.
a girl. So Erica, are you sort of easing your way into
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or are you just intimidated because
No,
if you look at it on Netflix, you're like, oh, there's 80 episodes or
lot.
whatever there are. Yeah.
I did start on like the first 2 or 3 episodes. I just finished Iron Fist, so
Yeah.
now that I'm done with all the really
Well,
good stuff.
glad you mentioned Iron Fist, one of my favorites, because who's a badass girl on?
Colleen!
I love Colleen
I
Wing.
love her!
I think people who
Yes.
don't like the show
Yes.
have to bite their tongue and be like, yeah, Colleen Wing's pretty cool. She's a
is.
great character. Quick aside, in the comics in the 70s, she dated Cyclops of the X-Men at one point.
What?
So,
I
yeah.
really like
she
her,
was
but
so
I liked
big.
her a little bit less the more she was falling for Danny because I was like,
Because you're like, you should have better taste than that.
yes.
See, I
because
like
he's-
Danny, though.
No.
Thank you.
Danny's so sweet and he's caring.
He's like an 11-year-old. He can't help it.
I'm gonna interrupt the part where he comes in for like the date and brings food. Let me interrupt your time. Let me barge into your space.
doesn't know
I'm gonna
any
tell you
better.
what to do.
And I'm gonna buy
I'm-
your building and
Yeah.
pay your rent for a year.
Oh no, I wouldn't want that.
But
Oh, look at that.
no,
Anthony in the
wait,
booth.
I love-
Some hot Danny Rand on Colleen Wing action
Well,
for
she
those
wasn't
watching on
going for him
YouTube.
until she found out that he had all the money. She was like not giving him the time of
No,
day.
I think
before.
she's the only person in
She
the
was
Marvel
nice, though.
universe who's impressed by his kung fu.
Yeah.
Which I'm
bad.
told his kung fu is going to be better in season 2. That's a
But
great
I do
character.
like her.
Yeah,
She just lost a notch when I was like, oh, why are you gonna
Yeah.
fall for him? He's an idiot. Come on.
yeah.
Oh,
And look, there are
so
strong women in all of the Netflix shows.
Yes.
Obviously, the most obvious would be Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
She has her own
Yes.
show.
Literally strong.
Yeah, literally strong, and she doesn't fly. She jumps
Yes.
really high and really far.
Gargoyles don't fly either. They glide.
Don't count Patsy out.
I'm thinking.
I love Patsy.
Patsy holds Jessica down like
Yeah,
no one else.
I do like
I love
the
their relationship.
Trish. I was like, wait, what's her real name? I love, by the way, how
I do call her Patsy.
how Kilgrave always referred to her as Patsy. He never ever once referred to her. So she was always like,
I
oh, shut
love
up,
that.
Patsy. And I like Trish / Patsy a
Yeah.
lot. And I think
that her friend?
that's her like
Yeah,
best
her
friend
best
who
friend.
does the Trish
She's
Talk
awesome,
show.
yeah.
That's exactly.
And she has no powers, but she
No.
she has a strong backbone and not going to back down.
and she has
always- yeah.
and she has a super strong friend. So
Yeah.
then you don't really need
Well,
her.
I like her because she's always trying to defy her stereotypes. Like she was a child actor, she tried to get out of
Yeah.
that by doing Trish Talk, and now she tried to learn like how to protect herself. I love that about her. So
Yes.
just being the victim all the time, she's
That's
a
why
badass.
also Claire, we've talked about
Claire
Claire.
Temple
Claire.
in
She
all
also
of the
is like,
shows. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
dangerous stuff around me. I'm gonna learn self-defense. You're like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, which again to get back, it's from Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
And it's like, because if you're gonna learn it, who are you gonna learn it from? You're gonna learn it from Danny Rand? Maybe
No.
not. And I'm saying that mostly as a joke because I knew that Kari would agree with
Like
me.
now.
Yeah, and you don't want to learn from
love
Stick.
Danny.
You know, I don't want to learn any self defense from Stick.
No.
I just
Yeah.
feel like that's Colleen would be a better teacher.
Yeah.
I that's one of the strongest non-powered characters, male, female, anything
Yeah.
in all of the current Marvel TV movies, everything. I think that Claire is such a great character. But there's so many strong women in all of the shows. Like Luke Cage has Misty Knight, who
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
is going to be a little bit bionic, sort of powered. But right now, she's still not powered.
Yeah.
So, but
That's something to look forward to.
yeah, well,
I didn't know that.
Well, you saw Defenders, right?
I saw that.
So
she
there's
got it,
there's gonna be something.
yeah.
To-
Okay.
yeah. To and I don't know
cool.
if you want to be surprised, don't look up her comic book stories because she does very well for herself. Yeah, and of course, Daredevil. We have some people hate Karen Page, and I have a spot of Karen Page from the comic books because she does something really terrible to Matt. Yeah, she gets strung out on heroin and gives the Kingpin his real name, and Matt's life is destroyed. And this can't be a spoiler alert because this is from Daredevil number 227, 1985. So I feel like I can
That's
mention
pretty
that
bad.
she did that. So yeah, but the actress on the show, people,
Excellent job.
yeah, people are very critical of her. I'm like, well, that I don't understand that because I think she's good, and I love her dynamic with Frank Castle, the Punisher. Ooh,
I like
yeah,
her
yeah.
better once she becomes more the reporter role.
yes,
That-
when she's just the I can't keep my secretary job secretary. Yeah,
She was cute at the beginning, like
Yeah.
a fun character, but it was when she becomes a reporter that you're like, oh, okay.
she is a much
Yeah.
better character.
She's fearless. So I like that about her.
Yeah.
She,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff women wouldn't do. She's like, I'll do it, and I'll do it in a pencil skirt. So
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously the strong women, some of them, their motives are not entirely pure. So we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Elektra,
Yeah.
who is one of the best female characters in the Marvel universe. We're going to just pretend that there was never a movie version. We're going to just only focus on the Elektra. This is Marvel TV Weekly.
Yeah.
If Marvel Movie News wants to talk about the Jennifer Garner movie, they can go ahead and do a whole show on it. But she's a great character.
Yeah.
And I really like the actress they got to play her. Go figure, they
Yeah.
cast a woman who at least looked Greek. I don't think she actually is. But, I think that they did a great job with her. And she's such an important part of the Defenders, which, not knowing exactly what the story of the Defenders was going to be.
Christian, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure this is the one you're talking about, right?
So that's
Oh,
not
no,
the
it's
one we want.
my
That's
bad.
Jennifer
My bad.
Garner.
Oh,
Be
okay.
Yeah,
named.
that's the ex-wife of Batman, or I don't know if they're actually divorced.
But he
I
also
think
is
they are.
Daredevil.
Yeah, I know. That's also a Daredevil we don't talk about. Exactly.
Yeah, she does an amazing job, and she actually looks believable as a fighter, because that's something that's kind of annoying watching any female fighter in a movie or show, where you're like, no, I don't buy it. Guy, male or female, and you're just like, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah, no. I think a lot of times you just be like, well, that's a really good stunt double. Like the fight shots.
Yeah.
Pretty sure she got more training in than Iron Fist did.
She did, and I mean, I think
She
we've
has
talked.
guns,
I think we've talked about this on the show.
Yeah,
Part of the
no.
problem with Iron Fist was that Finn Jones was cast. He was one of the last people cast on the series. He did not have a lot of time to prepare and to get the
you
fighting.
go.
In
So-
real life, he's super sweet. I got to meet him at Comic-Con.
That's right. You remember you told me that.
And it was hard to hate more in the show, because I'm like, oh, but you're so
nice.
But I still kind of hate your
That's
character.
what he brings
But
to
it's not
his
his fault. It's, I also feel
And
the writing and directing and all the characters
He's also
around him,
going to
but-
spend about 4 months training for season 2, and as we mentioned a few weeks ago, he's going to show up on Luke Cage season 2.
Yeah.
So Danny's with us. I'm hashtag Team Danny.
Me too.
Nobody else has to
Hashtag
be.
team.
All right,
I'm
good.
with you.
Chat room was saying loving the actress who played Karen on True Blood. I kind of beg to differ, because the character got really annoying, but I did like.
And
she was on
the
True
dad
Blood.
from The Gifted,
Yeah.
also from True Blood.
Right,
So.
all this mixed up.
And wait a minute, Rogue
Yeah.
was also on True Blood.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. That's just,
Which I
thought I mentioned it.
I was like, I'm wearing
mean to
my
stop the
Rogue.
conversation.
No, I'm a big fan of
That's
Rogue.
why I mentioned it, yeah.
And I was not thrilled with how they did Rogue in the X-Men movies at first, because I was
Yeah.
like, I love her. She's so like fun and outspoken, and it's like, I'm gonna pick one.
Yeah.
Like, my hair's in my face. I'm like, oh.
No, X-Men animated series Rogue is perfect.
So cool.
Because she
And even
has
the
the accents
short hair
right.
one,
Yeah.
too.
The very short hair that
Well,
she's had.
The one that we've had played the music from, that one's great. And then
Yeah.
that was like the New Mutants, I think, where she has like short hair and they're in high school. That one was good too.
That's-
Wolverine.
I think that's X-Men Evolution.
Yeah,
X-Men
that's
Evolution
what it
thing.
is,
That
X-Men
was good
Evolution.
too, but even just the regular X-Men cartoon, Rogue was great.
Yeah.
It's an interesting character choice, I thought, because she's so like distant, because she can't really touch with people.
Yeah.
And stuff.
No,
So
I mean,
it's
Yeah.
it's
an
definitely
interesting choice.
very tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, and technically in the cartoon, she's older.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the cartoon.
And well, no,
stuff, so.
like, even that aside, she's like a woman in that
Yeah.
like adult, and then Anna Paquin's more like young. So you're like, okay, she hasn't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Like she still
Yeah.
has her self doubts. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, well, this is a great way to transition to just some of our general favorite female characters in the Marvel Universe, movies, comics, whatever.
Do we wanna
Yes,
talk about
Tony
I
be
villains?
would
dead.
like to do one
Yeah, we
honorable
will.
mention that I enjoyed
Yes.
in the Defenders, and that's Alexandria.
So Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. as
Well,
a-
don't lose your head over that one. But anyway, it was a terrible joke. I'm so sorry. As soon as it was out of my mouth, I was like, was that really worth it? The answer is no. I think she was good. Actually, Kari and I were talking about this before we started. When the season started, she was great. And then,
Kind of fizzles.
it definitely fizzles. The ease with which she gets taken out is just like, oh, that's very anticlimactic.
I like Madam Gao.
Madam Gao, I'm glad you,
Staying
yeah,
power.
because I wanted to mention her, and I don't know that she shows up in Luke Cage, but she's at least shown up in everything else.
Yeah.
At least briefly.
She's
And-
somewhere in the background.
And she's
maybe.
she's a great character. We don't know how old she is.
No.
Hundreds of years old.
If she's even human.
That's true. We don't really know. That's a great character. And yes, that's where I wanted to start, was with villains. And so, there aren't that many female villains in the Marvel TV universe, whether it be the Netflix, ABC shows. There's some shows coming up that we'll have. But in terms of the movies, I want to highlight someone who I think is one of the best, most realized characters, comic book and movie, and that's Mystique from the Brotherhood. Sometimes X-Men, but really she's never really been that much of a good person. It's just a great character, and I think that two very different portrayals on screen.
Yes.
Jennifer Lawrence is great, and yes, I'm not going to really be too mean to Rebecca Romijn. Stamos at the time. I thought she did a great job. I think both of them were great as that character.
Yeah, I think isn't it like a skew line between what the villains are in between the villains and the heroes, but some of the villains are just trying to save themselves and their people. They're just trying. Their whole goal is just like to make a
that's
safer world.
the fundamental difference between Charles Xavier and Magneto is just this is how we look at the world.
Yeah.
This is how we survive. This is how we survive. And
methods
we're going to
are
occasionally
insane.
butt heads,
Yeah.
but they're still like the oldest friends. You know?
Yeah.
So, and I think, so you can argue that
They just have different ideals, which was on The Gifted. We saw
Yeah.
things differently.
That's
why
true.
They went apart.
It's
Yeah.
all of the shows pretty much that
Yeah.
concept between the
Yeah.
mutants when they're against each other. But.
And I applaud also the actresses that went okay with being such a sexy outfit, because in watching the cartoon, she has a dress on. She's not
She
naked.
always has a dress
Yeah.
on and heels
Yeah.
in the
She has
cartoon
that
and the
white
comic book.
halter top,
Yeah.
little skull belt, and I'm like,
By the way, love the skull belt though. You know, so if we
a
could
cool
work,
outfit.
yeah, but it very impractical to
Oh, yeah.
to fight in. You know,
and having your skin, which can change, and not something on top of it, totally makes sense, because then she can adjust to anything, and then otherwise you'd have to be like her outfit to
yeah.
change.
So there you
That's
go.
what-
So
yeah.
Erica,
Cartoon.
are you seeing comic book Mystique for the first time? Those of you watching
in
on
a
YouTube
long
can
time,
see.
so
Yeah.
In a cartoon, they put
Yeah,
her
that's
like that in the
that's
cartoon.
exactly that's the same look that she had there. But who stand out for you first, Kari, and then I'll ask Erica. Some of the villains, the villainesses is
I
one
was
way
gonna
to say that
I'm like,
word.
Yeah, there's not many of them.
No,
ladies.
but,
I was thinking Mystique when you mentioned it.
I can throw out another one while you think about it.
Yes, please.
The White Queen, Emma Frost, as played by January Jones
Oh, but
in
see-
First Class. So that is not my favorite portrayal of the character.
Okay.
She was much better in the animated series.
I'm trying to
She's a
remember that
great
one.
she's a great character. Did you see First Class, which is
I feel like I've seen all
set
the
in the
movies.
60s?
Blonde
Yeah.
and all white outfit.
I remember
Yeah.
January Jones, but I
Yes.
don't remember the character. Like,
Yeah, well, that's kind of how she played it. Not memorably. But
That's okay.
except some of those outfits.
Yeah.
That's those shots are for the fellas.
Have
I
you
see what you're doing,
watched
Tony.
Mad Men?
Yes.
See, I kind of hate her from Mad Men.
Yes, but
And
she
so
plays that hateable part so well.
On Mad Men, it's okay.
Yeah.
This on X-Men, I'm like, but
Yeah.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
I
So that's why
definitely
that
I
character-
definitely agree with you. So that's one of
So much potential in me.
and she has such a deep-rooted history with the X-Men, comic book wise, that I would like to see that character again in the movies. We can very well see her in the New Mutants films. It's sort of a very easy way
Yeah,
to
there
put
you go.
her.
Nice itty bitty.
Now we're talking.
Because that's totally practical.
By the way, not how she dressed on the X-Men animated series.
No.
Interesting.
I think she had a skull belt. No, it was a little bit less racy. So yeah, those stand out in the X-Men universe, and it's true there aren't as many villain women that
Yeah.
stand out. You sort of have your.
Law, not villain, but outside the law, Black Cat.
I was literally the next one I was going to mention. She's sort of a in between. You know,
Yeah.
you're like she dated Spider-Man at one point in the comic books, and then he got back together with Mary Jane because he's like, Black Cat, that's too crazy for me, you know. But that's a character that I believe we're going to see fairly soon on the big screen, and it'll be interesting to see.
She's not evil, and she doesn't necessarily go out to harm innocent people. She just goes outside the law, which he doesn't like.
I
Yeah.
want to see the ad. I've never heard of the Black Cat.
What?
character.
She's a great character.
She's very
she's
cool.
definitely
and in
on
the
this.
cartoon, she's cool.
Yeah, the '90s Spider-Man animated series, which I think is also on Netflix. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
If you
but
get a chance to watch it, yeah, that's another character.
Oh yeah.
Psylocke.
Psylocke is not evil. She is portrayed that way in X-Men Apocalypse.
Now-
she is not portrayed well in any way. Except for the fact that they just nailed her costume. They're like,
wait, I was just about to argue that.
they
I'm
took
like,
the
wait.
costume from the pages of the comic
Nope.
book.
Look, okay.
Yeah.
Weird
There's
booty peekaboo hole that is not in the comic
That's
book.
true, that isn't there.
And I was like, why? Because she does the high waist anyways, and it looks
Yeah, that's
totally
true.
fine.
You're right.
And then that was purely to
You're
add more
absolutely
sexiness.
right because I didn't remember it that way. But
As soon as I saw the ad, I was like,
so-
what?
You know what she did to get into that costume now?
it's probably.
It would be
I mean,
one-
honestly, when you hear
No,
about some
she
of those,
was amazing.
I think
Yeah.
what
She
I've
was
heard.
phenomenal. This is just one of those cases where they make a costume sexier than the
Yeah,
comic.
of course.
Normally people are like,
Oh, let's
they
sex
change
down
it.
the comic
Yeah,
book
they're like
version.
tone it down.
Yeah.
This one, like, let's show more. And it just made no sense. And it totally, it bothered me so much when I saw the first ad. So then I'm like,
moves out to have to,
why? It's like thong pretty much.
I mean-
and
It's the
arms.
The guys, they make them.
No, it's stupid.
Mostly
it's
for the
stupid.
guys.
I mean, it is mostly for
What
the
do you
guys.
think?
Hey, there could be plenty
I-
of ladies admiring it too. But,
So I have a love-hate relationship with the character of Psylocke. My least favorite thing about her is in the 90s, Jim Lee, who runs DC Comics now, decided that he wanted to draw her Asian. she was born the sister of Captain Britain. So she's pale and British. And then this guy's like, well, I think she'd look cool as a sexy Asian chick. And so we're going to go through a really convoluted story, and now she's this. So I was just like, well, why did you do what? Just make a new character. You didn't need to do that. And it's interesting. I mean, it's a very interesting character. Like, when you read those stories about the transformation, the way she's always portrayed. But that always bothered me, so I can't evaluate her with a clear head.
Fair enough. Well, the
Yeah.
90s cartoon, she's portrayed as
Yes.
Asian, so
Yeah, exactly.
that's the first experience I had with her. So, but that's a very interesting history argument to be like,
Well, because of what she looked like, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'm going to draw her like this.
The live action casting then is a good choice because she's kind of in between.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They split the difference.
Fine.
Was there something in the chat you were going to read,
Someone
or
was jumping to
was somebody giving
No,
away spoilers
no,
for Star Trek
yeah.
Discovery in the chat?
No, someone's getting ahead for Guardians of the Galaxy and said Nebula.
That's great. I mean, there are some very strong women in those films, but yeah, Nebula really. I mean, I hadn't even gone that far down the list. I didn't even get to the Guardians, so I'm glad
That
somebody
far
mentioned
down
that. Yeah, no, because it's like we're sticking with the Avengers
films
and.
we
Yeah, well, we started with the
Yeah.
TV, and I don't
Yes.
even know.
And
Yeah, we only have a few
yeah.
more minutes, so I'm glad that we got the Guardians in there. But yeah, everybody, let us know
Yes.
who else they're thinking.
Other
You can
favorites.
mention in the YouTube chat. What do? They can
thumbs
up.
and leave a comment down
Yeah.
below.
So if you're watching
Later.
the archive, we will look at it and we can share some of your thoughts next week. And Michael's going to be like, I can't believe you talked about all the ladies, and he's
I
going to have
learned
a
a
bunch
lot
of thoughts.
today, actually.
You didn't take any notes though, so
It's
yeah,
all right.
it's all up there.
Look some up.
Personally, I'm looking forward to Hela's, to see how Hela is
In Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
which is this show is Marvel TV Weekly, but let's talk a little bit about some of the news that there is
Yeah.
in our final couple minutes. And the more I see trailers for Thor Ragnarok, I'm so excited for that movie, and I have a lot of sort of mixed friendships with people who prefer DC to Marvel, and every time I see a trailer for Justice League, I'm like, oh, it's like the Avengers if I didn't give a shit about 3 of them. So yeah, I'm excited for Thor Ragnarok, and
so
that
fun.
other movie maybe I'll get to, but when I'm not going to go see it, opening weekend, because we finally know The Punisher is going to premiere on Netflix on
Let me know.
November 17th,
November
which is the
17th.
same day as Justice
Find
League.
it.
So I'll see
I'll go with
Justice League
Punisher.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with The Punisher.
Stay home.
Yeah, exactly. It's cheaper. It's
Yeah.
already paid for. But also, we're going to see, to sort of tie it all together, Karen Page is in the trailer, so we will see her. And I think that'll be great. In all honesty, I've been very excited about that. Just since we did our first episode, I've really been beating the drum for The Punisher, and excited that they finally stopped messing around with us and they let us know.
Yes.
But we're gonna have Thor before that. So it's an exciting time in the Marvel universe. And, in November, we're going to get some of the new shows, although I forget which ones. It's not Cloak and Dagger, but
coming up
I think
now.
we're getting Runaways in early
Yeah,
November.
that's
Yeah, we're
I-
getting Runaways.
Yeah, I think actually before Punisher, we're going to get Runaways. But I think that's going to be a weekly show, not the Netflix style of, all right, now stay up all night and watch 13
No,
hours.
yeah, I
I
think
think
they were
that's
doing-
going to be
I'm
the
excited.
Hulu style.
Not
So
gonna have a life.
I feel like, honestly, they're gearing up Justice League for a crush by Marvel TV, and along with Thor coming up too.
yeah, well, I mean, I think look, I mean, from a box office standpoint, Justice League is positioned in a smart spot. And so is Thor, where it's like you got 2 full weeks to really, it's like, oh, okay, how about you want to watch Thor hang out with the Hulk? Because we got that. Do you want to see Superman who's not even in the trailers, and the Batman that you don't like? Wonder Woman's awesome. Cyborg, who's excited about? Nobody's excited about Cyborg, and don't get me started on Aquaman.
What about
Anyway.
Flash? And you even didn't think to remember him.
Didn't even think to remember him. That's true. So take that, Flash. I do tend to like that character,
cruel.
but yeah. So that's where I am. But please tell me how wrong I am. At Christian DMZ, that we are out of time for this week, but this is a fun chat.
Yeah.
Please let us know your thoughts down below, and you can also tweet at us. Let us know some of your favorite women in the various Marvel universes. As I mentioned, I'm at Christian DMZ. Kari?
Yeah, you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane.
And you can find me, Erica J. Green, on all social media, Erica J-A-Y Green. And I just want to say happy birthday to my mom. Today is her birthday.
Oh,
And she's
yay,
watching.
happy
She's like a
birthday.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, I love that.
yay.
Happy
Love
birthday.
her.
And, shameless plug, you can find Carrie and I Sunday nights at 10 for Star Trek Weekly.
Yes.
But we'll see you back here Monday at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific for Marvel TV Weekly. Thanks, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.